18 years in business. We've put ourselves in a position to have relationships with retailers across the country, manufacturers, artists, musicians, and there's got to be a way to take that and kind of translate it back into improving more people's lives. I want to do what I'm doing forever, but I can do more. And what I want to do more is just expand people's brains, show them the things that they don't know that exist, and maybe find the next struggling artist, struggling musician, and contribute to putting that instrument in their hands and giving them a new lease on life. So that's just something amazing that I'm in the position to do that for other people, and that will be an ultimate joy for me as well. Souldier is a lifestyle brand. The mission is to create products that people will love, mostly for musicians and music lovers. So I started as an orchestra teacher, music teacher in the suburbs in Chicago, and I moonlighted in a rock and roll band at night. And one year the guys in the band needed birthday presents, so I was trying to figure out what would I get them for their birthday so that they were similar but different enough, and definitely one to fit each of their personalities, and that is where the concept of a guitar strap was born. When I went to make my first 2 guitar straps, the only thing we had to put them on was recycled seat belt, because it was the only thing that was long enough and sturdy enough. So we made them out of recycled seat belt. And the personality aspect of it was really important from the beginning, because I wanted to make something for Ben that Ben would love and something that Neil would love. And they were definitely different characters. So my straps reflected that personality. And then after we made the first 2 straps, it was like, hey, maybe this is a good idea. We should walk into some of the stores in town and see if they'd be interested in buying them. And to my surprise, people said yes. And then it's just been game on ever since. Straps were getting places, but I didn't ever know where they went. And it wasn't until Wilco was on Saturday Night Live and Jeff Tweedy had our owl strap. And that was kind of the first identifier of, oh my God, somebody has them, they made it somewhere, they're out in the real world. And with Jeff, because he was local and we were in Chicago, people started calling, asking, is this where Jeff's getting his strap from? So we just had kind of like an uptick in attention at that time. And then I ran into Jeff on the street at one of the fairs in Wicker Park, and I asked him if we could do a signature strap deal, kind of brainstormed this before I met him, and then we started making straps for Wilco, and that was a big deal for us right in the beginning, for sure. My mission was to outfit personality. So when I started making guitar straps and I realized that this is something that might work, I started looking for other personalities. So in the looking for fabrics that would suit different people, I accidentally came across the dead stock fabric from the Ace and Bobby Lee strap companies of the 60s and 70s. It had been sitting in warehouses in Chicago for 40 years, 30 years, and just in the early 2000s, nobody wanted it. It was something that was gathering dust, and it would have been better if it was out of here. So I started purchasing those, not knowing what it was. It was when I went to Keller Vintage in St. Louis, they said, we already have this. And I said, you can't. I just started making straps. And then through the back and forth, we realized that the stuff he was talking about was case candy that came in from, with vintage guitars. They would take the strap out and stick them in a box. So they showed me their box of the vintage straps they'd collected, and I started realizing that I have the same patterns. And then, oh my gosh, this is actually the leftover dead stock from the company who made them years ago. So we just started going back and buying out all the fabric that we could and stockpiling it. I really kind of became a historian on vintage guitar straps. I I think that when I left teaching, there was definitely a spot in my heart where I wanted to make sure that I was doing something meaningful. I really felt like I was affecting people's lives and giving them opportunity. And in some ways, the teaching of music and the teaching of orchestra translated, I used those skills with my employees. It's been really fun, the transition between, growing students to growing adults. 2 years ago, we were looking for a place to put our manufacturing business and also an office. I needed an office. In looking for an office, I ran into a dilapidated school that's been closed for 11 years. Everything's in it. It has been the dump for all the other schools in the district. And I walked in the school and found my office and then found a vision for the community. I just saw how this place could be repurposed into music rooms, art rooms, gymnastics, tumbling, dance. When you come from a larger city to kind of a smaller community, there's so many expectations that I had when I came here of things that we just have in the city. And when I got to Buchanan, small town Michigan, the things that I expected don't necessarily exist. So I decided to be part of the catalyst of making those things exist, not just for myself and my family, but in consequence, everyone else around me. So the point of the school now is we're having a retail location for made in Michigan goods, including our own goods, because those are made in Michigan as well. We're going to open some music classrooms, lessons. I want to take the kids in the high schools, put them in rock and roll bands. We built a stage in the gym so that they can have a place to not only have the experience of playing with the teacher, but then have the experience of playing with a group. Kids area, band practice, a photo studio. There's just anything that can be arts and music related and fun for people. That's what we want to have here. Our relationship through Souldier can really help us bring some of these things in to the community. I think there's a lot of times when there's people who don't necessarily have a place, and we're making that place for everyone who doesn't have a place. Everyone here can thrive. There's nothing you have to be good at. You're good at your own level, and if we can give those experiences to our community and the people in the surrounding area, then we've done a great job with our company and with moving in the right direction.